The reason why you want to isolate by yourself is because you're falling out of touch with yourself when you're around other people. This is not healthy.
Most men walk the earth with this lone wolf mentality, right? We view the lone wolf as strong, right? The lone wolf is strong. He can handle everything on his own. I think if most men really understood what happens to the lone wolf, because his fate isn't pretty. The lone wolf dies.
You can be alone and not be lonely. And you can be surrounded by all kinds of people and be completely lonely.
We live in a time where being connected has never been easier, yet more people than ever feel deeply alone. Isolation rarely arrives suddenly. It grows quietly, unnoticed, until it starts shaping how we think, feel, and see ourselves. This is an attempt to understand why. There are moments when you feel like there's nothing to do, or maybe you simply convince yourself of that because nothing seems to bring you real joy anymore. So you slowly turn inward, retreating into yourself until you find yourself lying on your back on the floor of your room, curtains closed, night outside, music playing quietly in the background. You stare at the ceiling for a while, or you close your eyes and your thoughts begin to drift. You imagine what it would be like to be laying in bed with your girlfriend or your boyfriend, doing something together, or simply having that feeling of being friends, sharing time, laughter, or even silence. Just knowing that someone thinks about you, that you matter to someone, that there's a person who checks in on you, asks how you are doing, and pulls you out of your room every time you need it. But that person isn't part of your life right now. And that's when the question begins to surface. Why can I not be normal like everyone else, with a partner, a friend group, or maybe just one best friend? Somewhere where the effort goes both ways. Being alone is a kind of pain that only those truly understand who experience it in their own body. Not as a concept or a quote, but as something that quietly stays with them. And because it hurts, people try to distract themselves, escaping into movies, series, or anime, wishing for a life that feels warmer, fuller, and easier than their own reality. For a brief moment, it helps, because reality becomes a little easier to tolerate. But why do people end up isolated? No one wakes up on one day and decides to be isolated. It happens through life circumstances, personality traits, and experiences that slowly shape the way we move through the world. It can begin with a move to another city, fate or disappointing relationships, or a job that leaves you exhausted, stressed, and too drained to actively maintain a social life. For others, it's disappointment, trust issues, or the fear of being hurt again, because once you've experienced that pain, you don't want to have it again. But when isolation becomes normal, this is the most dangerous part. Over time, you begin to accept it, until it quietly becomes part of your everyday life. You stop expecting shared memories, stop letting people fully into your world, and instead focus on yourself, or at least you try to, because you need something to distract you. What often goes unnoticed is what this does to you. The consequences of long-term isolation aren't harmless, and it goes far beyond simply feeling sad or bored from time to time. Research shows that long-term loneliness increases the risk of depression, anxiety, and even cognitive decline, because the brain depends on interaction, stimulation, and feedback. Without those things, the mind slowly turns inward. And instead of talking to others, you start talking to yourself. Overthinking replaces conversation, and silence begins to replace reassurance. But why is this becoming more common? What makes this even more complex is that we live in a time where we should, in theory, be more connected than ever before. Technology, social media, and globalization allows us to reach people from different countries, cultures, and backgrounds within seconds. And yet, many teenagers spend less time socializing in real life and more time online, gaming, watching series, or scrolling endlessly on TikTok, which can work for a while but often becomes fragile once school ends and adult life begins. Friends move on, start families, and suddenly it feels like you've lost your place, even though in reality, that connection isn't gone. We just tell ourselves that it is. We also live in a world where it is entirely possible to survive without ever leaving your home. Food can be delivered, work can be done remotely, entertainment is unlimited, and life can continue without being seen. Convenience slowly replaces the need for connection, and that should concern us. There are countless cases of elderly people passing away without anyone noticing for days or even weeks, or even years, simply because no one checks in on them. And the truth is, this can happen to any of us. But who is most affected? Isolation doesn't affect everyone equally. Highly sensitive, introverted, socially anxious, and emotionally reflective people tend to be the most vulnerable. Not because they are weak, but because they feel deeply, question more, and carry emotions intensely. And when no one helps them carry that weight, they end up carrying everything alone. At the same time, it's important to say that being alone is not always something negative. Solitude can be powerful because it allows reflection, self-understanding, and creativity. The goal isn't to avoid being alone, but to avoid disappearing from the world. Being alone doesn't mean there is something wrong with you, but staying isolated for too long slowly changes the way you see yourself and others. Connection doesn't always begin with people, sometimes it begins with decision. To give the world another chance and take a step back into it. You're not alone in feeling this way, and you never have to give up on yourself.